Good evening, gentle watchers, and welcome back to Secrets Unleashed, a Gold Guard Whitey production, with your host, Gold Guard Whitey. This week, we're going to be discussing one of the most hated S-ups in the game for his amazing ability on dunking, Randy. Please go ahead and watch the video closely and enjoy the show. So, firstly, let's talk about why Randy is actually so hated in the first place. And the simple answer to that is because of his sprint dunk. It's his ability to sprint dunk, and there's actually two kinds of sprint dunk, and of course it's also his ability to step back shot, which means he's both a threat inside and outside. But yeah, the main reason why he's so hated is because of how hard it actually is to block his sprint dunk. So let's go ahead and talk about how we can block his sprint dunk. Both of his sprint dunks. Both of those styles of sprint dunks. So firstly, let's talk about the normal dribble sprint dunk. Now, believe it or not, there actually is a difference between normal dribble sprint dunk and fancy dribble sprint dunk. So again, we'll focus on normal dribble sprint dunk first. So firstly, what we're actually going to want to talk about is the location. And I did say there are differences, but it's actually the same for fancy dribble sprint dunk and normal dribble sprint dunk. You're going to want to be about a meter away from Randy, or for Martin even. For Martin or for Martin or for Randy, you are gonna want to be about a meter away so you can actually block him properly. That is the positioning that you're gonna want. It works for both Martin and Randy. It works for both normal dribble sprint dunk and for fancy dribble sprint dunk. You're gonna want to be about a meter away. And in terms of direction, you're also gonna want to be literally face to face with where Randy is actually going. Alright? You need to be face to face with him to actually block it properly. You don't want to be at the left a little bit or at the right a little bit. No, you're gonna want to be completely face to face with Randy if you're gonna want to actually block his sprint dunk. Again, both normal dribble sprint dunk and fancy dribble sprint dunk as well. So just to say it again, you can't be too far away from Randy or else you're going through him. Or you can also be too close to Randy or else, again, he's just going to go through you. What you're going to want to do is to be a meter away from Randy and to be straight up on his direction on where he's about to dunk. Now, let's talk about what actually it makes the difference between the two. And it's actually Randy's timing when it comes to normal dribble or his fancy dribble sprint dunk. So with normal dribble, you can actually jump as soon as Randy makes the dunk animation. Even when he's not about to jump yet, as soon as you see the text pop up that he activates sprint dunk, you can immediately jump as long as you're in front of him, as long as you're about a meter away, as long as you're in the correct position. You can jump immediately and you are blocking him no problem. You are going to be able to block Randy, no problem, as long as you're in the correct position, as quickly as when he activates his skill with normal dribble sprint dunk. This only works for normal dribble sprint dunk. You can jump as soon as possible, or as soon as he actually activates sprint dunk, even if he's not jumping yet. So, what does this mean? This means that the best way to defend Randy is actually just stay in front of him, and if he goes left or right, you just have to trace him. You just have to follow Randy on where he's going, and once he activates sprint dunk, you immediately go forward and go in front of him about a meter away, and you jump in time. You jump immediately after you see his sprint dunk activate. That is the best way to defend Randy. And of course, it does leave you wide open with his step back shot, but you're just gonna have to be good at defending that as well. You're just gonna have to watch out for it. You know, using a character like Ranger, Alto, or Elise completely just shuts down Randy, so you can use them as well. So you can cover his step back shots as well. Now, let's go ahead and talk about his fancy dribble sprint dunk. This is actually a little different from the normal dribble sprint dunk as well. So when it comes to positioning and timing, it's actually, like I said before, right? They're very similar. You're just going to want to be a meter away from Randy, and you want to be at the very front of where Randy is about to go. Like his animation, it's not an animation error. You're going to want to actually follow where his animation is going and block him from his front, from where he's about to go. However, when it comes to timing, it's actually very different from normal dribble sprint dunk. So how is it different? It's different where if with normal dribble sprint dunk, you can immediately jump after Randy activates sprint dunk. You can't actually do that with a fancy dribble sprint dunk. Instead, what you're going to want to do is actually wait for Randy to sprint a little bit, and then when he's about to jump, when he's about to do his jumping animation to dunk the ball, that's when you actually want to block Randy. That's where you want to actually use the jump button. If you do it too early, he's just going through you, and if you do it way too late, again, you're not going to be able to block him. You are not going to be able to contest him. You're not going to make contact. He's just going to dunk freely. So what you're going to want to do is to just jump as Randy is about to actually jump as well. You're going to want to block him as soon as he's about to jump to actually dunk the ball. With normal dribble sprint dunk, you can jump immediately after he activates the skill. Even while he's not jumping, he's just sprinting. You can do it with normal dribble sprint dunk, but you cannot do it with a fancy dribble sprint dunk. You are going to have to wait until Randy actually is about to dunk the ball, and once he's about to jump and you use block, there you will be able to meet Randy. And an important note here as well is a lot of people actually defend Randy wrong when they're pretty new to his style, because they're afraid, right? Like his fancy dribble will just cut through your defense and immediately go towards the ring. So that's why they just camp out the front of the ring. That is not what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to stick to Randy not only to defend the step back shot, his step back three, but also you're going to want to defend Randy up close, because you never know if he's just going to use a normal dribble or a fancy dribble. Not only that, but even if you stay close to Randy, as long as you know what you're doing, you will still be able to actually reach up to that fancy dribble sprint dunk. You will be able to defend him properly as long as you know what you're doing. So yeah, guys, make sure that if you defend Randy, you stick into him and then you just trace him. You follow him. You don't go away from him. Maybe step back a little bit, but that's about it. You're still going to want to just trace and follow Randy. You're not going to want to camp out the ring. You're not going to want to go behind him to defend the step back shot. You're going to want to stay in front of him and just trace Randy. That is the best way to defend his sprint dunk. Again, normal dribble, sprint dunk. You can jump immediately after the skill activates while he's still sprinting, but you only want to jump and block for fancy dribble sprint dunk when he's about to jump and dunk the ball. Other than that, everything else should be the same. The positioning, the timing, or the positioning and the direction, it should be the same. Just about a meter away from him, straight up from where he's about to go. But yeah, anyways guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope that it's been entertaining. I hope that much more importantly, it's been very helpful. And I'll catch you on the next one.